Hi, welcome to day one on your 5-day nervous system exploration. We're primarily going to use the breath through each of these practices. We may incorporate a posture from the science of yoga while we're doing the breath practice, but primarily we're going to be feeling into the linkage between your breath, your nervous system, thus the way that you feel. So we use the breath with the nervous system because it's one of the fastest ways to talk to your nervous system. When we slow our breath down, we can slow our body down. The same in reverse. If we slow our body down, we can slow our breath down. And in turn, slowing breath or body will slow our mind down. So if you have a busy mind, been feeling agitated, maybe highly emotional or feeling sensitive, burnt out, these practices will be super nourishing for you. So I'm really glad you're here. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. And if you like this practice and want to continue on our 5-day journey, don't forget to subscribe. So when we slow down the breath, especially the exhale, it sends a signal to the brain that we're safe enough. And the body can start to relax, start to get into a parasympathetic nervous system state. That is the rest and digest. So that signal travels through something that's called the vagus nerve. We won't get into too many details in this video about the vagus nerve, but know it's like a highway that is communicating what's happening between the gut and the brain. You might have heard of the gut-brain axis before. It's the nervous system, and it's your vagus nerve that is communicating. So the most powerful tool to feel better right now, to soothe your nervous system and create regulation. So regulation in your nervous system isn't that you are always calm, cool, collected. You never get annoyed or agitated by anything, right? That's not what it means. What it means is that when you do get agitated, you have the resiliency to bounce back into what we call homeostasis hum, or what yoga calls a sattvic state, a state of bliss or calm, kind of thinking of the sunrise or the sunset. Those times of day have this very sattvic or homeostasis quality versus more of a what yoga calls rajasic, which is a motivated energy. It's like a fiery energy. Out of balance, rajas looks like anxiety or stress pushing through. In reverse, like I mentioned, the parasympathetic system already, this is tied to what yoga calls as tamas, which is like an earthy energy. It's a grounding. You can think of kind of water and earth together. So out of balance, water and earth creates mud. Sometimes we feel like we're stuck in the mud. Maybe that there's too much tamas or too much parasympathetic activation happening. Now, how could we have too much rest and digest, right? Well, what can happen is we live in such an overstimulated society that our nervous system is in constant firing. We're in this constant rajasic or sympathetic nervous system state. And then we crash and we go straight to the tamas. And maybe that looks like Netflix and chill, or it looks like vegging out. And we feel we've earned that. It's true, but it's not maybe necessarily the best care for our nervous system. So we want to find the balance and feel into what is our own window that feels we're not too rajasic and we're not too tamasic, to where we can operate in this really nice homeostatic hum. So that's what we'll be working through over the next 5 days. Today, we're going to start with diaphragmatic breathing. And so diaphragmatic breathing, and I'm going to put an image up here on the screen so you can see the vagus nerve and you can see the diaphragm. Now, when your diaphragm gets a full breath in, it's expanding open like a jellyfish, or you could think of an open umbrella. So as you take an inhale in, and you can right here expand your diaphragm. As you exhale down, the diaphragm returns to its placement, and it's also sending a signal to the vagus nerve that it's okay, you are safe enough right now. And so you can begin to switch into a parasympathetic nervous system. A yoga practice is typically designed to work you into the state. And so doing a full practice could just really nourish you. But I like to have a little bit of self-leadership. And I like to be able to be in the grocery store, be out in the world, and maybe notice a trigger or an activation. And to be able to offer myself, to be able to tend to myself right then and there. So today's practice is only going to be focused on diaphragmatic breathing. We're going to do it 2 different ways, seated, and then we're going to lay down on our back with knees bent. So that's the kind of space you need today. I also have a block, and if you don't have a yoga block, you could use a book, you could use your mouse, you could use anything. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be using it to help us see how our breath is moving in our body when we're in a supine, when we're in a reclined position. So get comfortable in a seated position, easy enough, comfortable enough, and we'll practice maybe just 3 diaphragmatic breaths. Now, in yoga, we call these yogi breaths. They're 3-part breathing. It's called 3-part breathing because we're going to start by expanding our lower belly out. So when you take an inhale, the lower belly naturally falls forward. So maybe just notice that for a moment. In our society, we're so used to sucking in, holding in. And so it might feel a little uncomfortable at first to let your belly just relax forward. And if it does, just notice that. Try not to have any judgment. So as we inhale, the belly falls forward. And then the second step is that the ribs expand laterally. I like to think that I have eagle wings attached to the back of my ribs. And as I'm inhaling, they're expanding. And in fact, just opening my arms up with my inhale is going to help facilitate that. The last part of the breath is to expand the chest, to let the breath travel all the way up. And the exhale is in reverse. So we'll try 3 times. We will use our arms while we're seated. And then when we're reclined back, we'll relax. And that will be day 1. Thanks for being here. Okay, now that you found a comfortable seat, let your arms hang by your side. Take an inhale wherever you're at in your breathing cycle and let it all out. When you're ready, let's begin. Inhale, lower belly, ribs expand, chest expands. You could look up if that feels okay for your neck. Let's do it in reverse. Exhale, chest comes down, ribs return, belly tones towards your spine. Tone, not tighten. 2 more. Inhale. Last one. See if you can notice how your ribs are expanding. If this feels difficult, that's okay. It's new. With more practice, it will feel more comfortable and your body will learn to breathe this way, which is the most healthy way to breathe. Okay, let's try it one more time. Come onto your mat or the floor and recline back onto your back with your knees bent. You could take your feet as wide as your mat and allow your knees to fall together. This is called constructive rest. And then grabbing your book or your block, place that on your belly. Could be a pillow, just really anything. So we're going to feel into that. We're going to breathe 3 times just like before, starting with your lower belly. Notice how the block lifts. Expand your ribs. Imagine that you're expanding your ribs all the way out to the edges of your mat. Then your chest. And return. 2 more times. Last one. You can set your prop beside, extend both legs out. We'll take a mini shavasana just to notice for a moment how you're feeling. So release any self-leadership of your breath for the time being and see if you can witness your body breathing you here. You could close your eyes if you like. And to slowly come out of Shavasana, you can roll to one side and push yourself up to a seat. So this was just a quick practice to introduce you to diaphragmatic breathing and its connection to your nervous system and the way you feel. The stress, the anxiety can all be supported, can all be tended to with diaphragmatic breathing. Let me know how this was for you in the comments, and I will see you tomorrow in our next video. We'll be talking more about the vagus nerve. Keep practicing. I'll see you tomorrow.